Hey guys, it's Robbie from Hardwired, who's ready to cause some vehicular mayhem. Need for Speed Unbound is the most recent entry into the Need for Speed series. It really kind of feels like some of the old school Need for Speed games with a touch of Most Wanted or Hot Pursuit. In the sense of street racing, it just goes back to those pure days of the original Underground games, and then also gives you the thrill of running from the cops. The game opens with you choosing between a 69 Dodge Charger, an 88 Lamborghini Countach, and a 98 Nissan Silvia K. I, being a JDM fan, chose the Silvia, of course, and initially had a really great time with it before things happen in the story and you're forced to start building another car. That being said, the performance mods weren't available until after you reach this particular plot point, and I was getting a little frustrated with this fact. To be clear, I went into this game blind and did not know whether I would even gain those options. The game also offers complete visual modification of your cars as well as performance mods, and I spent way, and I mean way, too much time modding my car. The game looks fantastic, blending realism with a cel-shaded graffiti look that works surprisingly well. Unbound is a fantastic arcade-style racing game that never takes itself too seriously, even when you're running from the cops. The game takes place in the fictional town of Lakeshore, where street racing is the bane of the local cops and government. You get all of the expected race types from sprints to endurance and of course drift, with variants of each. My favorite is probably the more technical races with a lot of corners and multiple laps, as these give you time to learn the course and also give you the opportunity to overtake other racers in the bendier bits. This game is an open world style game that gives me vibes of like GTA without the guns and explosions. They even add in some collectibles to allow you to unlock some aesthetic mods for your cars. Now, about those cops. They're a very excitable bunch and will chase you down unless you can escape and will arrest you and take all of your money before releasing you. You build heat by participating in events, and if you don't evade the police quickly enough. Some races build only a small amount of heat and others build more, depending on the potential earnings and difficulty. You can bank your cash by returning to a safe house or the garage, and you can reset your heat by ending the day by doing the same. I know for a lot of people, this is a real selling point, as running from the cops can be fun, but I, for one, did not enjoy this implementation of this mechanic. Honestly, outside of the car chases that occur after the races, I could have done without the cops being in the game in general. I found myself winning a bunch of money, then getting back to the garage as quickly as I could, generating as little heat as possible. It's stressful, and I did not enjoy it. One of my favorite things about this game, however, is the overall sound design. From the engine sound with the whine of that spinny boy and that sweet wastegate sound to the exhaust with its pops and burbles, which is actually tunable. I found that interesting, and it's something that I spent probably too much time on as well. Then there's the soundtrack, which sadly we cannot feature here for fear of copyright strikes. But when I tell you that it's full of bangers, I mean it. There's a nice mix of hip-hop, techno, and rock. There's even some not English language songs that I actually found really great. I found myself looking up the artists outside of the game and jamming them in my car while driving in real life. The actual driving and controls of the game are really great, like right up there with some of the best racing games I've played. Drifting makes sense, cornering feels good, and even at high speeds, everything feels natural. That includes after you've finished one of those high-speed races and you go back to a normal car, a slower car, you get that kind of highway lag of feeling like this feels weird and very slow. As usual, I played this game on my PS5, and they take full advantage of the adaptive triggers and enhanced vibration that it offers. Aside from the cops, my only other complaint is the multiplayer is kind of a ghost town, and the matchmaking requires other actual people to be in the game who are willing to participate in the race you're trying to start. There's no AI. The online mode does have a couple perks though, like you don't have to own an actual car for the class that you're trying to participate in. They'll loan you one, even though these are base spec vehicles with no mods. The other is possibly a drawback for some, but I like the fact that I got to start over and pick a different starter car and mod it to my liking. I really enjoyed this game, and even though the story is a bit cliche, I found myself really getting into it and a little emotionally involved in the events of the game. Even with a less than stellar online mode, this game's well worth picking up. I struggle with the rating on this one a bit. but I'll be generous if only because of the nostalgia hit this game gave me, and I give it an 8.